Vom continua acum să vorbim despre Renault, pentru că Renault face, de fapt, un pas în ceea ce privește îmbunătățirea operațiunilor sale de producție de mașini și are ambiția de a crea, de fapt, o replică virtuală a facilităților în cadrul unei platforme pe care o numesc, foarte interesant, a spune, metaverse industrial. Pentru a ajunge aici, au fost foarte mulți pași pe care i-a făcut compania încă din anul 2017, când Renault Group și-a lansat Industria 4.0 și transformarea digitală. Care sunt, de fapt, acești pași pe care i-am menționat? Îl invit în continuare pe domnul Cornel Tașcu, director executiv informațional Renault Group România și totodată director informațional pentru uzinele Dacia din România și Maroc. Ne va prezenta această călătorie fascinantă. Cred că merge microfonul dumneavoastră.
Merge?
Mulțumim tare mult, sigur, vă auzim. Vă înmânez podiumul.
Okay, I will stay in English like my previous, speakers, and I'm very happy to be with you today. It's a special day today. We are celebrating Sfinții Mihail and Gabriel. On the other side, in Renault, right now today, there are being made extremely important announcements by our CEO. And for me personally, the challenge is to give you, to make you, in fact, capture a little bit of list of what we are doing in Renault Group for 5-6 years, because a lot of things, extraordinary things are happening. So let's start. Yeah, we are here at an Industry 4.0 conference, but in our case, at least, it is impossible not to think about cars, okay? So, you see, in 20 years' time, the same C-segment car weighs 600 kilos more. And while the raw materials are becoming lighter and lighter, the cars are becoming heavier. And, this comes with a cost, because we need more raw materials to produce cars, and we need more energy to make them moving. And, the mass is a very, very simple metric, and probably is not the most relevant one for car passionate and for car experts, but this shows a thing. It shows that now we are going through not only a, let's say, normal evolution, but a real revolution. And this is very, very interesting. And just a brief picture of what is happening right now in the industry. And you see the new safety regulations, the climate change agreements, and the green transitions. And then the new customer trends with the new mobility, the connected cars, the electric vehicles, and the different levels of autonomous driving. And very important, the new value chain. It is very important because the new value chain came around carbon neutral, strategies, and the new value chain is made by electric vehicle, electric engine, the battery, of course, but not only the new power, electronics in the car, and the circular economy. And all of that shows that the industry is now in the most exciting period of its long existence, of its long history. And Renault, through its Renaulution plan, is prepared to play a big role in this huge transformation, okay? Now, so let's go back to the Industry 4.0, okay? So what the company is expecting from us, the industry, for zero guys. Of course, in this period, the company is expecting us to be a transformation catalyst. But this not be, at least in our perspective, an end in itself, you know. Industry 4.0 is associated in Renault with extremely clear business objectives. And the amazing technologies we are using should bring value for our operation, but also for our customers. For example, to reduce delivery times to the final customer. And last but not least, it is well known that, you know, the industry, generally speaking, is less attractive for young generation that it used to be. And you know, the new technology should restore this confidence of young people in the industry, and I'm sure it will happen. Okay. So, you know, in Renault, we like to be extremely precise in what we are doing. And first of all, we didn't want 5 or 6 years ago, you know, Industry 4.0 to stay as a hipsterish buzzword, and to you know, the entire concept to be in fact full of meaning and full of purpose. And first, we set the playground. Okay, what are our playground? And you can see that the Industry 4.0 must reshape our factory, our supply chain, and two of the most important macro processes in the company. I mean from design to industrialization of the car. Industrialization means when a new car is entering the plant, and once the second one is from order to delivery. So once a customer order Renault or Dacia cars up to its delivery in good hands, going through some important milestone as S&OP, material supply, manufacturing, and outbound logistics. I was saying that we are not doing technology for the sake of the technology, and we put business targets all across these processes. And the business targets relates to cost, to inventories, to time to mark, and so on and so forth, to target carbon and of course neutral plant. But not only Renault wants to put, you know, the technology in its core business, in fact, and that's happening right now. Okay. Now, so the playground, is our functional playground? Then, what are the main pillars of the transformation? And in fact, it was back in 2017 when a group of OT, operational technology, IT, software experts, manufacturing experts came together and set 5 fundamentals to be developed during this journey. And the first one is to connect people in plants, not only people but also workstations. Okay. The second one was to implement real-time data-driven operations, meaning back in time that we had to be able at any moment to monitor and to supervise our production lines and our equipment. Okay. The third pillar is the full track and trace. You know, this aims to, in fact, to build a platform when to gather all the information. I mean, the parts where and assembly were mounting on the car, but not only, also the processes and the third parties, like, for example, carriers or packaging, movers, etc. And of course, in the industry, for you who knows, we are doing tracking and tracing for years, but now the technology help us to switch from multiple and disparate, source of data to a unique platform. Okay. Then process 4.0, which simply means a lot of things, but simply put, it's about remote assistance. Very important topics we applied very successful during pandemics. And for example, we launched the new Sandero in the same time in Pitești plant and in Morocco plant in Tangier during pandemics without any day of further delays due to remote assistance, because the engineers could share information of the project on the spot using this kind of technology. Also, in process 4.0, we're finding 3D printings, and by the way, we have extremely performant 3D printing centers in Miovem plant, but also in technical center of T2, and the third one is the conditional and predictive maintenance. Okay, and last but not least, the fifth pillar is the flexible supply chain, which means, once again, a lot of things, but just for you to understand, the objective was to get bigger visibility on parts location and to try to predict disruptions and how to avoid them. And you can assimilate that with a control tower in aviation industry, and is that we implement control towers for supply chain, and you imagine crisis after crisis, pandemics, EC crisis, the war, etc. So we are happy now due to this investment. But okay, to change, and it's very good to define pillars, etc. But you need a foundation, a strong foundation, and the foundation to be strong first, we need to have, it's a basic things, a connected plant, and we implement Wi-Fi, industrial Wi-Fi, in all our plants. In the same time, we started data acquisition programs. We'll be talking later. And more recently, we brought in digital twin technologies, which is an amazing technology that help us, in fact, to reproduce physical objects into a digital ones and to make simulation. If you know the industry of the crisis, the simulation are very important, because we can imagine what if scenario and solve operational problems. And I don't want to forget cybersecurity. And the cybersecurity risk nowadays must be very carefully assessed and, of course, mitigated. Okay, so what was our journey? The journey started in 2017 with the Wi-Fi implementation in plants, but not only, we reinforced also the industrial backbone network, because we were expecting a big outflow of data. The previous speaker said that digital transformation is not only about technology. It's also about changing the way of doing. And we set in plants cross-functional team, agile teams that start working to implement application. A simple one, in the very beginning, a very complex one after. 2 years later, we start launching digital twin projects. And this allowed us to merge the product world and the process world, and be very, very efficient. And we started mapping and scanning our processes, our equipment, suppliers, with big benefits for the operational finally, because we were able to implement virtual trainings, virtual commissioning of our plants, and virtual simulation of the flows. This being in place in 2020, extremely a turning point, because we started a very big data program. We are calling Industry Data Management program, and it was a turning point because we are able now not only to collect data, but to put them in context, to structure them, and to aggregate them, and put at disposal of operational to use them, finally, to exploit them. And of course, what is next? It's industrial metaverse. And it's not the metaverse of Meta company. It's a very pragmatic one and very, orientated to results. But we talk about that later. Okay. So about the strategy, but the strategy is 5% of the entire match, and 95% is the execution. And in this kind of transformation, we realized that, okay, it's very, very good to say that one try hard, we need to try hard, we have, the right to fail, to learn, etc. But let's be honest, we need success stories, okay? Why we need success stories? Because, of course, success brings success and even more success, and also help operational to get on board with us, and very, very important to build a strong confidence from the very top management and of the stakeholders. And our first success was the connected chef duet. Chef duet, in fact, means the supervisor of the basic unit in plant, and then digital workstation platform. Okay. So the Connected Chef Duet was our first initiative, and the point here was to simply connect people in plant. I mean the chef duet, the supervisor of the smallest units in the plant, using tablets. And you have to know that in Renault, the unit manager is managing about 10 to 15 people, and but he needed to go back and forth to his desktop in order to get data about production and how he had to adjust it, to input HR data and so on and so forth. And by giving him mobility and access to his real-time data, he or she could focusing all the time in a shift on the production, on managing the people in his unit. And you see, on average, we saved 50 minutes for only one chef duet. Multiply with, I don't know, maybe in Renault Group, 1,000 of chef duet, and you see very, very huge amount of time. And in the same time, we wanted to bring technology to the guy on the line who produces cars and engine. And we install, you know, a fix-it, I think it's the word, a fixing tablets on the workstation, and this enabled the guy on the line to see what car is coming next on the line and be prepared. And also he can ask help for whatever reasons. I mean, for a quality issue, for I don't know, a missing part, or even it was the case for a, you know, a health problem. And after that, we can analyze all these help calls, we are calling it. And also, the application gives alerts. For example, if a less frequent diversity is set to come, I don't know, three cars after, for example, right-wheel drive. You know, the process is completely different, and this allowed the operator to be mentally prepared. A small time, but it's very important. You know, some screens and some functionalities of Connected Chef Duet. It is interesting that he has a list with best practices, and she or he could insert in the list what they are considering being a best practice, and after that, these best practices can be shared in the plant, but also with other plants. Okay. And regarding digital workstation platform, you see the figures are impressive figures. But maybe the most important point is that we conceive the application like an open source platform. And of course, we have, let's say, corporate application because the processes are standard. But the guys in plant or the ISIT, local ISIT, may develop their own applications, but of course respecting some rules. These applications are made in Romania because you have to know that here in Romania we have a digital hub in Dacia entity, and we have some 300 people working on all these subjects where you are seeing right now. Okay. So some key factors. It's a slide missing, but no problem. In fact, let's speak a little bit about data. Mr. from Ford, you know, stress on that. Data is structural for any digital transformation, but you know, it's simply to say data is the fuel of the digital transformation, but the company should be prepared to do data at scale, and also the technology must follow. And you know, in 2020, in fact, we pushed the button of this this very innovative program. Is made in house. It's a big majority here in Romania. So we considered that the company were ready. We were switching from, you know, what we are calling a waterfall approach to agile approach, like startup. A lot of small startups in the company. Of course, we consider that we couldn't go alone in this journey, and we partnered. We set partnerships with big companies, and Google is one of them. And as of such, we had, you know, direct access to cutting-edge technologies. And some few words about data architectures, because in Renault, as probably in other big groups, OT, operation, technology, and IT are managed by different functions, and sometimes this is, you know, hindering the IoT adoption and enablement. And what we did was to put together experts from IT and OT with the objective to define common architectures, and yeah, to define common architectures. And to put together IT, OT, and IoT. Okay, and it was a very important step. And of course, cybersecurity, that by our surprise, was not only, you know, an element to slow down the entire process, but it brought even closer the two worlds, IT and OT. So in Renault, we are doing everything to save money and to generate value for our customer. So is the case. Data at scale allowed us to improve the operational processes, to be able to predict maintenance, for example, to reduce waste, extremely important topic, to reduce energy and CO2 consumptions. That very interesting. Data programs was kind of catalyst to bridge silos in the company, because, you know, historically in big companies there are silos. So this is a fact, okay? And we also put together our expertise on industrial data with Atos, you know, the French company, digital skills and technological, generally speaking, skills. And we want to monetize our solutions, because what I was saying is that it is an internal solution, because simply on the market we couldn't find a solution that would fit our needs, and it's we are happy because the first orders were placed for this. Okay. Now, you know, you have a very simplified schema of our solution. Of course, everything's the baseline is at field level, and the point here is to gather real-time information out of our equipment, machines, CNCs, robots, etc. Then we have the IT layer with what we are calling legacy systems, but also manufacturing execution systems. And the outcome, the final outcome, is to expose this data in order to be exploited, and in order to work on, use cases. Or put in other words, data acquisition and the creation of data referential is the basic, is a foundation. And we are saying that a foundation with a competitive advantage. Why? Because everything we are doing is, let's say, put in standards. And I don't know what happened. We used OPC UA standard, but not only. Then we are exposing data in a Google Cloud platform, okay, in order to be transformed, and use cases, value-added use cases to be worked on. But very important, this is not free of charge. It costs a lot of money, a lot of money, all this investment, and we have to be smart enough to collect once and use many. Yeah, and the principle is very simple, but very complicated. To collect only once data, to store only those data that are relevant for us to store, but to use many. Okay. Otherwise, the cost go in the sky, and it's not performant. Okay, a lot of things about strategy. Now, a very interesting use case we performed in Pitești plant, and in fact, it relates to the welding process, the automated welding process. And for people that are knowing much better than me, so the welding point to be perfect, one need some parameters to be very precise. It is about temperature, voltage, the position of different axes of the robots, and the torque. If not, the risk is that a so-called sticky point occurs, and this, of course, may damage the quality of the welding, may damage the quality of the welded components, but also it conducts to micro stops, and it impacts the cycle time of the line. And with the help of data, and its case in Pitești, we could increase the OEE of the line by 2% and to reduce practically to zero the rework needed for this kind of reasons, sticky point. Okay. Another interesting use case was to reduce the consumption of welding electrodes. And you have to know that, for example, a duster body in the body shop needs around, 4,700 welding points. And for big plants like Tanger, Dacia plants like Tanger or Pitești, which are turning 3 shifts and 6 out of 7 days a week, the consumption of electrodes is extremely huge. We're speaking about, hundreds of thousands of electrodes a year. And in fact, the idea was very simple. We wanted to decrease the frequency of electrodes replacement in average, but also we detected through data, we detected those robots for which the frequency of swapping was superior to, let's say, to the referenced one in the procedures. And we did it. We did it, and the results in Tanger plant are very encouraging. And the key message here, we are using the same data sets as in a previous use case. So, you know, the principle, collect once and use many. Okay. Only few words about energy. You know, like a European OEM, Renault Group launched big decarbonization programs of its entire operations, and the energy management is part of this program. The first thing we've been doing was to reinforce our capacity to measure. Of course, we knew to measure the energy consumption at plant level, but not to drill down to the department level or to workshop level. And the second, in parallel, we defined 4 topics, very energy, intensive. I mean, the optimization of paint oven start and stop, optimization of sleeping robots. You know, in the industry, it's not so simple to switch off industrial equipment when we are not producing. Monitoring of building doors, it may seem basic, but it's not at all. And the control of building temperature and ventilation. Okay, I will switch an interesting use case regarding the paint shop, because we are running out of time. So, before conclusion, so I hope I was able to give you, some flavor of what we've been doing in Renault on Industry 4.0, and you can imagine we didn't speak but tangentially about the organization, the governance, the supply chain, because we will need to stay 2 days here. But if this is something you have to take away, is that. So we have everything in place. Okay, we have almost 9,000 equipment connected through 10,000 sensors, a huge amount of plant surface covered by Wi-Fi, the people connected in a plant. Then we have digital twins technology in-house with a lot of benefits. Of course, we wanted to create an ecosystem which goes far beyond the 4 walls of our plants, and we connected our suppliers, transportation carrier, and we are now able to track almost all the trucks in Europe, and also around, 700,000 vehicles on their way to the final customers in order to improve lead times. The last ellipse, it's about technology. We cannot do it without technology, and since the beginning we understood that technology must be in the core of all this, and we picked up real-time technology, of course, through partnership, real-time cloud, but also edge computational power. And now we have everything to go to the next ambition, and please believe me, it's not a slogan, to the industrial metaverse. And of course, for us, the industrial metaverse should make us saving money, okay?
The story begins around 2017. Here we are in Renault Group factory. The production line you see before you is made up of various people and parts. Let's call them objects. Each object, screwdriver, robot, truck, or even packaging material, generates data. Each object has its own interface, its own language, in order to share that data, a language spoken by no one else. Each object has its own name, but that name also changes according to each interface. And so Screwdriver 17 becomes Machine 808 or Atlas Copco 2840. Renault Group is the first to become aware of the issue at play. There needs to be a platform that brings all objects together using a single set of standards so they can seamlessly interact with one another. Step 1. Install the telecommunications infrastructure they need to communicate. From 2017 to 2019, 6,000 acres of workshops are equipped with the necessary networks. Each object is modeled, ID'd, connected, and given a digital avatar. All the ingredients are now ready for the birth of Renault Group's industrial metaverse, a true-to-life digital replica of the group's factories and entire supply chain. It provides a real-time simulation of the entire ecosystem and the countless relationships between avatars, making it easier to optimize the way they function in the physical world. What are the benefits? There are plenty. Our environment is becoming more and more complex by the day. The Renault Group Metaverse makes it easier to see, assess, understand, and therefore act in a timely manner. Reduced costs and increased quality. Real-time systems means you can intervene in the right place at the right time. Real-time monitoring and traceability of key parameters means enhanced prevention and early planning. Our environment is also prone to unforeseen events. Accidents, disasters, real-time simulation makes it easier to quickly adapt to such events when they arise. The metaverse helps us become more agile and resilient. Constant precise analysis of avatars means better stock management when you know exactly what you have and where it is. You don't need backups. That's a proven savings of 20 to 30%. Our customers will be delighted, especially given the reduced turnaround times, with considerable reductions in the time it takes between placing an order and receiving a delivery. Another essential factor for Renault Group is how this benefits society. The carbon footprint is at the heart of our concerns. Real-time analysis of our energy consumption with live simulation on the metaverse helps us further optimize our energy use. Not forgetting the people involved. While the tech involved is quite exciting, the metaverse broadens one's horizons. Because employees are given a much broader vision of their role within the group, they are more likely to take initiatives and make the right decisions. This is the full meaning behind our slogan, digital tools serving people. Standardize, synchronize, optimize. Above all, the Renault Group Industrial Metaverse places us at the cutting edge of a new era.
Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you so much also. Mulțumim. Mulțumim tare mult, domnule Tașcu.